this next guest in because he is under the pump. Everybody wants a piece of him. We're talking about the great John Casey from Channel 7. Case, glad you could fit us in, mate.
Always. You've got a great crew here working on the floor as well, so always good to work with you and Baz.
Mate, you're too kind. Com Games, mate, what is your take on the Com Games?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. We had 5,000 athletes, 72 countries. There were 19 different sports and we won gold in 15 of them. So that's always popular as well. But it's an opportunity for athletes to get experience. It's like a small Olympic Games. And I know some people don't rate it as highly, and it's certainly not the Olympic Games or the World Championship for many sports. But we had world records. We had world champions getting beaten. So it's a high-quality sporting event, and of course, Australia winning the medal count's always good.
That's a great point, Case. We broke world records. I mean, that's Olympic times that we're talking about. And that's going to happen in a lot of the sports in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, we had a boxer that was ripped off. We'll chat about that one a bit later, but that's okay.
That's been going on for a long time, Phil.
It has been.
What is the story there, Case?
Yeah,
Seriously,
exactly.
why does it happen?
Well, because there are political agendas and they need people to have a gold medal as they turn pro and they build them up. I remember Roy Jones Jr., one of the greatest world champions of all time, was robbed of a gold medal as well in 1988 because they needed the South Korean to win the gold medal for boxing in that country to prosper.
Bopped.
He
got bopped in that. Roy Jones turned out to be a great fighter.
Yeah.
Let's not get it wrong, but I don't think he didn't win that fight that you're talking about.
No, he did. His South Korean opponent was lucky to still be standing. And I remember the great world champion Barry Michael telling me when he fought as a professional overseas, he said he's going to have to knock his opponent out to get a draw. And that's unfortunately the way that some things happen. The other thing with boxing at the Com Games and at the Olympics as well is they have 5 judges around the ring. So you have 2 on one side. And a lot of boxers try and produce in front of the 2 judges. You're going to get more hits. But I think we saw a controversial score, and you're going to talk more about that on the show. I mean, Callum Peters, unfortunate that that's the way it unfolds, but we see it in the pro ranks as well.
So what's your big highlight, Case? Who jumped out of the TV at you?
Well, look, as a basketball fan, I did enjoy the 3-on-3.
Right,
And, you know, we won medals in all 4 events, the 2 wheelchair events and the 2 3-on-3 games as well. So I really enjoyed that. I think it's a spectacular sport that can help grow basketball as a game. Interestingly, I ran a poll on social media after the Com Games. Not many people were interested in 3-on-3. I said, would you like to see 5-on-5 or 3-on-3 when the Com Games come to Victoria in 2026? Very little support for 3-on-3, and I wonder if that might just be you know, the demographic of the people that follow me on social media. But I think there's room for 5-on-5.
3-on-3 is still in the infancy.
Yeah,
really, even though it's been going for over a decade now, still in the infancy compared to 5-on-5, which has been going. So, Lauren Jackson coming back, an amazing story. 9 years retired, and we all love Liza, and it's great to see her back. Your take on that one?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. She's going to bring a lot to the table. I think she's got the ability, and she's shown it in NBL 1. She's having 40 points, 25 rebounds last week. But her mobility, she's using medicinal cannabis, and it's allowed her to come back to the elite level that she was before she had a knee and a hip problem. So she's been outstanding. And as I say, she'll come off the bench, she'll play spot minutes, but there will be a game where Australia's struggling and they need an X factor, and I'll guarantee that she's going to provide it. And I mentioned this, that not only what she brings to the team on the court, but what she'll bring off the court in terms of experience, but also what she'll bring for the opposition teams. Because now the opposition teams are looking at her and saying, Lauren Jackson's back, we need a plan. So straight away they're distracted. So you're taking them out of their comfort zone to a certain degree, and she will hopefully help the Australian women get to the medal rounds, because having it here in Sydney is so important for us to do well.
And she'll form a magnificent partnership with Liz Cambage. Liz is not
She's controversial, Liz, isn't she?
Mate, you know, Phil knows my.
Well, you're talking about 2 extreme opposites right there.
The polar opposites, exactly.
Lauren could not be a greater team player.
Well, that's what I mean, you know. It's
Hey, mate, let's talk about the SANFL. You're across everything, mate. It's been a pretty good season for Channel 7 and the SANFL, and it continues to sit on a knife edge as who the top 5 may be.
Fantastic, isn't it, Phil? Because we've got 6 teams still in the mix for the 5 spots, and all 5 spots can change here in the last round on the weekend. But right now, North Adelaide, they need a win on the weekend and be minor premiers, and they play West Adelaide, who have been really good form, but you would favour North Adelaide. The Crows are second, Norwood are third on an 8-game winning streak. They've won 10 of their last 11, Norwood, and the last time they played North Adelaide, they won by 6 goals 5 weeks ago. So right now, if I was pinned down, I'd say it's looking like a North Adelaide-Norwood grand final, and whoever performs on the day is the team that's going to take the premiership.
And that'd be a great final. Well, no, I'm talking
North,
about...
North.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I'm just talking about crowd-wise here.
Yeah.
For the SNFL,
Two
that
big
would be the
clubs.
perfect... that'd be the perfect final. I don't know about Adelaide getting in there because I don't think they've got the support. And I say that in a nice way.
Yep.
That
No, they haven't.
They haven't got the SANFL support. A lot of those are people that follow Adelaide, follow Sturt or Norwood or
They're
South
divided,
or
aren't they?
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I think if you're right, the Norwood-North final would be a beauty.
Yeah.
Would be a bumper crowd.
And the sample are going so strongly, it's fantastic for the sample, the way that the competition is put together at the moment. In recent years, we've had more fans at the ground, upwards of 40,000, and higher TV ratings than the VFL and the Waffle combined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that goes to show we are the best state league in Australia,
No
defeating
problem.
Western Australia by 4 points in the state game earlier this year as well, just confirmed that. But in terms of the reaction, the crowds, the TV audience, it shows that here in South Australia, the sample is still a big ticket item.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the ratings did say it was due to the commentary team that was around it. That was my understanding.
You could be right, Phil, I'm not sure. I wanted to ask you though, because I know you're not a huge fan of the Com Games as you are of the Olympics, but the talk is that esports is going to be included maybe in Victoria in 2026. It's certainly coming to the Olympics. The numbers are staggering and it cannot be ignored. It will happen. I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime, but esports is coming to the Com Games and the Olympics. They've got $2 billion in terms of the major competition at the moment. And the great thing about it from those organisational point of view, it's a different demographic, it's men against women, and everyone can compete, whether you are, if it's a disabled or if you are an abled athlete, you can compete against one another. There's ticks so many boxes that I know a lot of people won't be happy about it, but computer games, esports is coming to the Com Games and the Olympics.
You know, the big box
Yes,
that ticks.
that's what we're talking.
The big box that ticks is money.
Exactly.
So all the sports, be it Com Games, be it Olympics, be it World Cup, they all need money. So it
Yeah.
sits in that nice bit where we're struggling a little bit. It's going to bring a lot of money, so it's in.
And Baz, can I ask you, why were our women cricketers at the Commonwealth Games but not the men? Today,
That's an
Cricket
extremely
Australia
good
has come
point.
out and said they want teams at the Olympics in Brisbane in 2032, and as the host nation, we can pick some sports that we want in the Olympics. But why did the men not compete at Birmingham?
We asked that question because a cricketer friend of mine said to me, well, the cricket will be on the Com Games. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, because the girls are doing okay. When do the men start? We both said the same thing.
Be scheduling. It'd be the scheduling. There's just so much on that the men just couldn't, their schedule's heavier than the women. That would be the only reason I could think of.
I don't know whether it qualifies to be an Olympic sport. I'm not sure about that. I mean, who do we play?
No, it'll be a demonstration sport.
Yugoslavia.
It'll be a demonstration sport at the Olympics.
Yugoslavia got
So it's a bit like when they played the Olympics back in Melbourne. Was it 56?
56, they played a football game as a demonstration sport.
So it'll be the same. You can have the host country gets to pick the demonstration sport.
That's a good point, mate, about cricket. But I agree with Phil. Probably it's probably to do with the scheduling with the cricket with the men at the minute because the men are frazzled.
Yeah,
that's what
worn
they
out,
are, and I
playing
know
too
they
much.
are. They're frazzled at the moment.
We're getting across a fair bit here, mate. Larry Kesselman this week came out and said that he wants basketball to be the #1 summer sport. So he's challenging cricket, tennis, and all the other sports. And it's certainly in a boom phase, case that we probably haven't seen since the 80s.
Yeah.
Sitting on the back of the players now playing in the NBA. It's been a great product. The standard of players out here. 36ers have been on a fairly big recruiting spree. How have you
Looking good,
seen-
aren't they?
They're looking real good. How do you think their season may unfold?
Well, the 36ers are going to play finals this year for the first time in 5 years. There's no doubt about that, the way that they've recruited. CJ Bruton in his second year now putting together his team as opposed to the team that was half selected for him before he arrived.
Oh, it might have been 3/4.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you're being kind. Yeah.
The only negative is that Robert Franks, one of the key signings, looks as though he's not going to play for the 36ers. He does have an out clause in his contract to go to Europe, and the European money is twice what he can earn here. And any professional sportsman, if you're offered, or woman, if you're offered double the money, no one can begrudge them going to another league. Live Golf, exactly. That's exactly right. You look at the numbers that they're talking about there. But I think the 36ers, with what they've brought in, are going to be in the finals, which is great for locally.
Absolutely.
And as you're right with the NBL, can they challenge cricket and tennis? I'm not sure just yet. I think they've got the A-League covered already because we have a better product. And I really do think that down the track, and let's face it, without Larry Kesselman, basketball would not be happening here in Australia. Australia.
Larry's been
and
magnificent.
Okay.
he's done a great
Magnificent.
job with
Yep.
it, and I'd encourage him. Let's try and become the significant summer sport. Nothing, no harm in trying.
No, I like the way Larry's gone about it, and he's
Good
certainly
point.
built a great product. Case, always great to catch up with you, mate.
Good
We
on
get
you,
across
Case.
so many sports.
Absolute pleasure.
Com Games, mate. Olympics not too far away for you either, mate. We'll sit at home and watch John Casey on the TV performing magnificently. Stay with us. Still plenty to come.